Hello lovelies, welcome back. My name is Tehja Avanni and today we have a different type of video. So I am starting kind of like a series, but it'll just happen occasionally when I do like makeup and chill and just like I do makeup and talk about certain topics. And if you can't tell by my shirt and my hoop earrings and my hair finally out for once, we'll be talking about what's going on with the, just Black Lives Matter movement, but for real, it's the civil rights movement. And just my thoughts on it. Let's just get on to it. All right, so I'm going to be taking my Juvia's Place concealer in 18 to prime my eyes with. Okay, and then we will get on to the talk. I literally have no idea what look I'm going to do, but we'll just figure it out. But I'm going to get into the talk first. So actually, let me get into like why I've been gone as I look for a color. But I've been gone just cause I needed like a break, which is so weird because I think I came back from a break for the Doja Cat video, but I just felt like I just needed another break. I'm taking the Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice palette and I'm taking this shade. Let me zoom in actually. Yeah, we'll just be like this. So I needed like a mental health break, and it was first because of the pandemic, and then the police brutality bullshit started happening, and it was a lot all at once. And so like I just needed a break from like all social media and just kind of like keep to myself and kind of figure out my own thoughts. So that's why I've pretty much been gone. But I will be coming back with videos, but I was just really like over it. I had to get over the shock of everything. I had to just kind of collect myself mentally and emotionally before I can even do a video again, because I feel like I've done videos and I haven't been in a good place mentally, and you can see it. And so I just hate those videos. I hate when I publish those videos. And so like I want to be not the best that I can be, but in a better mood, because I just want to like not be a downer, obviously. So that's that, but enough about me and why I have been gone. We'll move on to what's been going on. So I haven't really been like super vocal about the whole Black Lives Matter movement and the, of course, criminal actions that the police have done. I don't want to like go over the exact details because we've seen it all over social media, but I've just been really silent because I'm the type that I get really angry, and then when I get really angry I get really hot-headed, and so I go 0 to 100 real quick. And so I haven't really been talking about the topic because I get really emotional and really angry, and I just didn't want to display that on social media like at all because I can be a person that's kind of gets like real like warrior like real quick, and I felt like that was the last energy that's needed for what's going on right now. And so that's why I've been really quiet for the most part. If you see me looking, I have my notes, and so I've just been kind of figuring out, because I feel hopeless when stuff like this goes down, because we all know that what we see on the news about these shootings and killings of Black people for literally no goddamn reason is just a fraction of what's really going on in the world. That's just what ends up on the news. And so to really think of it that way, that this horrendous treatment against our people is normalized to the point that it happens so frequently, it really scares me, and it really makes me feel overwhelmed, and I feel like there's no hope, and it just gets like really, really bad. And so I needed to figure out a way of how to channel my frustration and anger and not feel like I'm hopeless. Because it's just like, I'm happy that more people are banding together and more people in positions are finally seeing like Black people haven't been overreacting all these years. Like we were dead ass serious when we were talking about we are being slaughtered, and we are mistreated on a day-to-day basis, between being followed in a, you know, supermarket or clothing store just because we're black and they think that we're stealing, to straight up being killed just because of the color of our skin. Like, we weren't like exaggerating. No, racism has not ended. It literally, Jim Crow was in the 1950s. So that's not that long ago. That's 70 years ago. My grandmother was an adult during Jim Crow. So that's not that long ago, and mindsets don't change because laws change. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that, yeah, we were emancipated back in the 1860s, but it doesn't mean that mindsets change. And we weren't really free. It took us a very long time to actually be free. I'm taking my Juvia's Place palette. Moving on, because I will sit here and talk all day. And I'm taking Ada from the Juvia's Place palette and also putting that in my crease. Like I said, I still don't know what I'm doing. So, you know, it's not like, okay, one bill was passed and everything was fixed. Like, no. There's still racist people. There's still people who are brainwashed to think that we are not worthy, we are not human, and that, you know, we deserve to be exterminated. There's still people who think like that. There's still people out there who think it's okay to think like that. And I think that's one of the main problems with this country and just with racism in general, is that it's so normalized that people think it's okay to think like that. It's okay, and it's not. It doesn't make sense that you think I am less of a person because I have more melanin content than you. That doesn't make any sense. And I just really feel like for a person to feel that way and to need that justification in order to treat other people like shit, they obviously have some self-worth insecurity problems, number one. And number two, they have to have some type of mental illness or mental imbalance to think that way. You have to. You absolutely have to, because it doesn't make sense. It does not compute to think that, you know, black people are dangerous and that we're criminals and that we're less of a human being because we have more melanin content than you, that we're not deserving of jobs, that we're lazy, you know, like just all of that propaganda. It literally doesn't make any sense for someone to think that way and believe in that bullshit, excuse me. You know, you have to have a mental imbalance to really believe that and perpetrate it and then take actions against people of color for it. It doesn't make any sense. And for me, I have struggled with mental illness. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. So that right there, racism to me, seems like a mental illness to me. I'm sorry. It really, really does. And I feel like once it's recognized as a mental illness and is at least not normalized, then I feel like a lot of change will be able to happen because of it. Because I feel like racism is so normalized and so socially accepted because the country was built off of racism. So of course it's going to be socially accepted, that people don't realize that is actually like something that is wrong and like severely wrong. And it's not just the racism that, you know, is blatant. I'm taking the Pat McGrath Mothership. I believe this is 2. And I'm going to be taking this color right here and just putting that on like the outer V. It's not the type of racism that, you know, is blatant, that you straight up be like, I hate black people and blah, 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 blah. But it's also the subtle racism, because there's different types. There's types that is like the blatant KKK racism, right? But then it's subtle ingrained racism that you don't even realize that you're perpetrating, which is like, I grew up in the Upper West Side in Manhattan, and for those of you who don't know New York, it's like kind of like a ritzy, not like ritzy, but people with money tend to live there. Like, I actually lived across the street for a hot minute from Tim from Project Runway. So it's like that type of neighborhood, but it's not like where the super rich are, but it's people with a decent income. That's where they live. And people would look at me strange, like, why am I in the lobby of my building that I lived in? Because it was a building that was charging like $9,000 rent. It was a very expensive building. We weren't paying that, but other people, newcomers, were paying that. And so like they would look at me like, what am I doing here in this apartment? How do I know the doorman? You know, and it's just like, or it'll be like, I must be the nanny. I must be the caregiver because I can't possibly be living in one of these apartments without some type of working reason. And so that type of racism of assuming that I don't have the money, of assuming that I can't do this and can't do that, is a different type of racism. Then there's another type of racism. I am going back into the Juvia's Place palette, and I'm taking Fulani, and I'm going to put that more in the inner crease. And then I'll probably take the other color and make a halo eye out of it, but I don't know. I'm just putting shit ton of eye makeup on my eye because I literally have no idea what I'm doing. But anyway, there's a different type of racism that we have seen. Okay, Fulani does nothing. So that's great. Let's see. Alright, I'm taking the Jackie Aina and Beige Cosmetics. I'm not BH. Wow! ABH Cosmetics palette. Because I was like, Jackie Aina, she's a black YouTuber. Let's support her because money goes in her pocket with this palette. So I'm taking credit. And I'm going to put that where I was putting Fulani. But anyway, there's a different type of racism. There's all different types, but these are the main three that I see. Which the next one is tokenism, which tokenism is kind of like creepy. It's like the it's like hard to explain. It's kind of like you're overly not accepting, but kind of like praising black people in a way of almost like you're not treating us like human beings. So it kind of aligns with appropriation in a way. So like tokenism is like, you know, dating a black man because he's black instead of dating a black man because he's a man. But like but it's like so hard to explain. I'll put like the definition here, but like praising them because they are different than you, but like it's in a way that you're still an object to that person. You know what I mean? So like appropriation is kind of like that as well. It's like, yeah, you're praising black culture, but you're also taking it and making it into your own in a way that you profit off of it and don't support the black community. So I hope I explained that right. I might put like a video down below that explains tokenism better, but it's like I feel like that's the creepiest one out of like all the different types of racism and discrimination, like because it's just like really, it's like in a way that's like that would freak me out, like if I ever encountered that like in person. And so that's the thing, like it's not, because people, especially like a lot of white liberals, think that because they're not blatantly racist means that like they can't be racist at all, and that's not true, because you'll have certain stereotypes that you believe in and perpetrate about black people just because that is what you believe in, and you sometimes don't realize it, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize that certain things are not okay. I'm taking credit again and putting that in my inner corner. You know, like saying that like, okay, you can't be racist because your boyfriend's black. That is not true, because you can still think your boyfriend is less of a human being than you. You can still, you like kind of like, you know, believe that still he can't or he shouldn't be able to get a job over, you know, another white man, or, but yeah, but you can still think that he's less than you. You can still think he shouldn't get the opportunities that you get. And you can still have preconceived ideas of black people that perpetrate stereotypes. So just because your friend is black or your lover's black or you voted for Obama doesn't mean that you can't be racist. You can't be racist when you don't believe in well, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But there's a way that you know that if you feel like you have to defend yourself not being racist by your relationship to black people, you are definitely discriminatory, or you're still a part of the problem. You're not part of the solution, because you should explain that you're not racist because you just don't think that way. You just don't believe in the things that the majority of society believes in. I'm kind of taking that color again and just putting more in the Pat Mcgrath palette, just putting more in my crease. Yeah, so that's the thing. I feel like once people understand the definition of racism. And just like, you know, like how everyone's been saying, like, educate yourselves. Like, I feel like that's just very, very important. The education is very important in understanding what the true problem is, because I feel like with all of these PR kind of statements about Black Lives Matter, like, they always say, or a lot of them say, you know, put an end to systemic racism, which, yes, we should put an end to systemic racism. And I know that police getting away with the murder of Black people is systemic racism. However, we need to put an end to all racism, you know? So those people who still want to go and kill Black people just because they're Black should also be put to an end to as well. Like, I just feel like people are focusing on systemic racism just because they don't know the definition of actual racism. And I don't know, I just feel like people, or they actually don't even know the definition of systemic racism either, by just saying that, because they would understand that that doesn't cover all racism. It doesn't cover all discriminatory actions that the society has made normal. And I just feel like that's what it is. And so I'm tired of the term from companies saying systemic racism, because I would like them to use it in a different sentence to see if they actually understand what systemic racism is, because I'm just tired of it. And that was the thing. I'm like going all over the place. I am not listening to my list. My list is out the window. Not even using it. But anyway, speaking of PR stuff, let's talk about, actually before we talk about it, let's see what we want to do. I know I've probably done a look like this before. And I'm kind of mad because I'm pretty sure I didn't look like this before. So I am taking this color from the Mcgrath palette. Hold on. This one. This color right here. And putting that on, putting that on the lid. Oh shit. Putting that on the lid. But anyway, speaking of PR, please watch out for performative activism and performative allyship, because a lot of these companies are doing that. A lot of these companies are doing that. Like, I don't know if you follow, obviously I wouldn't know, but Diet Prada is an account on Instagram that normally calls out people or companies that have stolen designs, like fashion designs or clothing designs from other people. This is really pretty. Wow, this went in a direction I didn't want it to go, but it's so pretty that I can't help it. But anyway, they like call out companies for pretty much stealing designs, fashion designs, of smaller brands or just other brands in general. And so they kind of went on the activist road and kind of was doing a whole coverage on the whole movements of Black Lives Matter. And lately, I'm not sure if they're still doing this, but I looked like a couple of weeks ago, and they were calling out companies for performative allyship. And I was very happy about that, because I didn't even know that was really a thing until I saw it on Diet Prada. I was like, yeah, that's totally a thing. And so they called out L'Oreal for performative allyship because they actually fired a trans woman who is Black after her tweets from like a campaign. It was like a campaign for their True Match Foundation. And so they fired her or cut her from it, and because she was tweeting about racism and how white people, not like white people in general, but I think it was like an instance that a white person was being extremely racist or discriminatory, and she called the person out on it. And like they cut her from the campaign shortly after that. Like I think almost like the same day or something. So so for them to then support Black Lives Matter and the whole civil rights movement is kind of hypocritical, because if they really truly want to put an end to systemic racism, they would have supported that Black trans woman a long time ago. Like when she was calling out racism, they would have stood behind her and actually applauded her for doing that and for standing up for what's right if they really cared. So I'm not supporting L'Oreal anymore. So that's a fact. which just sucks because I love their True Match foundation. It's like one of the best, cheapest foundations, but can't be supporting that BS. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I'm gonna do something crazy. Isn't this color pretty though? It's so pretty. Like the light washes it out a little bit. I might put like a video of like the actual color. Oops. But it's duochrome. And it's really, really pretty. So anyway, L'Oreal's case, that is Performative Allyship. There was like another company as well that Diet Prada called them out for Performative Allyship. But like companies that have shown discrimination before and then all of a sudden wanting to put an end to systematic racism is just, I don't trust that. And yes, companies can change. So yes, companies can change. I actually have an example of a company that I feel like has changed because they specifically, oh, I found it. They specifically kind of said their wrongs, not all their wrongs, obviously, because there's a lot of them, but they kind of was like, all right, we were wrong in doing X, Y, Z. And that is the National Football League, the NFL. I'm taking Jackie Aina's palette again, and I'm going to take, actually I'm going to take two. I'm going to take Big Wig first and put that on the outer V. I'm going to turn this into a purple look because it's really pretty. But yeah, and so the NFL released an end to systematic racism, blah, blah, blah. But Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, kind of said specifically that they should have listened to Colin Kaepernick, and they were wrong in not doing so. And I feel like that is not performative allyship because they said specifically that they were wrong in perpetuating systematic racism, and that they want to change that. And even before this whole thing went down and this whole uproar went down, they have that deal with Jay-Z, which I think is a legitimate deal to help with their public relations and stuff like that, and their music as well. Well, it's music first and then like public relations afterwards of like donating to different causes that helps people of color. And so like I feel like that's efforts for change. Now they are an old system, so I feel like it will take a long time for them to really get it right, but I feel like for an old system they're doing a lot more than a lot of other companies. So I feel like that is something that they legit were like, okay, we were wrong in doing X, Y, and Z, and we want to change that. Instead of putting up a front and be like, oh, you know, we feel bad for black people. And we're sorry because we still want to take your money later. So I just feel like there's a lot of performative allyship going around. So I kind of feel like companies that are being performative allies are ones that don't donate to causes. So I'm very leery of companies, especially big companies that don't donate to the actual causes to help uplift people of color, and just put a statement on social media and call it a day. Like that's not enough because that's just bringing awareness to the situation. But to really actually invoke change, money is involved because slavery was started for profit. Period. It was started for profit. So how we reach I feel like how we reach the actual end goal of, you know, pretty much eliminating racism, discriminatory, and systematic oppression is through financial power. So when we have more black billionaires that give back, when we have, you know, people with money that can support candidates and give them the money they need for their campaigns in order to make a difference and support candidates that want to be agents for change, you know, and just leveling the playing field, because the thing is the powers that be are the ones that are rich and have the money to influence the media, to, you know, make sure that those cops don't get arrested, to, you know, manipulate the training of cops to feel, because I really feel like the training of cops, because I don't feel like every cop is bad. They can't be. There's lots of good cops out there, but I feel like the training of cops kind of supports the actions of police brutality against people of color. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel. So I feel like straight from the jump out of the police academy, you're going to have that already kind of like influenced idea of people of color and how to treat them. Now I can't like prove it obviously, but I feel like because it's such a pretty much epidemic, you know, throughout the different police forces. It's not like it's just in 1 or 2 states, it's across the country. I feel like the general police training is, you know, kind of like, I don't want to say brainwashing, but it is like influencing and suggesting a certain treatment for people of color, and the type of force that you use. And that kind of helps with maybe some preconceived ideas of people of color for people that aren't in the police force. So that's my idea. So anyway, besides that, I was trailing off, but I feel like once we can level out the playing field and have more of an equal, okay, there's all these people in power and people who have money that are white, but also it's just as much that are black and brown, that there is pretty much like a checks and balances of making sure that oppression cannot happen because we have the money to fight against it. So I feel like brands who don't donate because they're billion-dollar brands, come on, a lot of them are multi-billion-dollar brands that are in multi-billion-dollar industries. If they aren't opening their purse and if the minimum really ain't $500,000, it's gonna be very hard for me to support them. So segueing into what I've been planning lately is that, because I know that a lot of people who have a bleeding heart for what's going on with the protests and everything, but just aren't protest-like people. Like I'm a protest person, but if I go out and protest, I'm not coming back here. I'm done YouTubing. I'm done being a fashion designer. I'm done being a business owner. Like, I'm going to commit my life to being an activist. Like, that's just how I am. Like, I can't, like, I'll just be like, all right, I'm done, guys. Like, see you later. I'm going to go and, like, fight for civil rights. So I know that that is not for me this lifetime. I know that I want to play a bigger role in change. And for me, that's why I want to, like, have multiple businesses and to build my empire, so that once I have my empire, I can be able to fund and support different causes. And that's my long-term plan. There's other people who, you know, feel like they need to, like, for me, I'm a long-term person. I'm a bigger goal type person. Like, I want to do what Beyonce did. Beyonce done built her empire, and so now she is not taking no shit, and she's being an agent for a lot of change, and that's my goal, is to become that. Hopefully sooner than Beyonce, because it took her since she was 15 years old. So hopefully, well, it would take, because I started my business when I was 14. So hopefully it doesn't take as long. But yeah, so I just want to follow in those footsteps in a way. And be able to build my empire so I can fund those agents for change. I am taking my Juvia's Place palette, and I'm taking Calabar, this color right here, and I'm going to kind of put it like up in here. Like, I just want to create like a really shimmery lid. So anyway, I didn't even say what I've been planning. So what I've been planning, because I know, like, I can't do like the protest activism, and even with protesting's goal is to create awareness and to cause disruption. It's not the solution. And so, you know, there's something that has to come after the protest. And so I know not everybody can do all that, which is fine. There's nothing to feel bad about. Okay, is that adding anything? I'm not sure. But for me, what I'm going to be doing, because I am an artist and there's a lot of artists out there, that I am going to be a artist activist in a way. And so I'm going to be starting a series on here that DIYs different brands is like stuff. So like brands that kind of don't support Black Lives Matter, or don't support Black Lives Matter, or have appropriated Black culture before, or have disrespected Black people or Black culture before. So like, you know, people who are brands that don't have like a lot of Black models for so many years and refuses to have Black models. Brands that have appropriated Black culture on multiple occasions. Like Marc Jacobs. I'm gonna figure out how to come for him. And do you like this shimmery lid though? Like, usually I hate like makeup like this, but this is nice. But anyway, and companies that have either spoke out against Black Lives Matter or just have been silent. Or I might even target companies that just kind of just posted a statement on Instagram and called it a day and like didn't open their purse or didn't even have a call to action to help create change. That's what I'm going to do. So it's going to be like a whole DIY series. You'll see it pretty soon. And it will be brands that you will want to, that you probably do like. It's a lot of high-end fashion brands because those are the ones that be appropriated. And I will give you one that isn't a high-end brand. Well, two. One, Fashion Nova. Now, Fashion Nova, I believe, has done some stuff for Black Lives Matter. However, Fashion Nova is just problematic in so many ways that I'm tired. And the stuff that they sell is so easy to make, it's not even funny. So I'm coming for Fashion Nova whether y'all like it or not, because I'm just tired of the way that they do business. I'm tired of the way that they, they just frustrate me so much. They have shitty customer service. They have shitty ideals. They only kind of support and uplift one type of body type and almost one type of skin tone. And then they have been stealing from not only big fashion designers, but small fashion designers as well. Especially a lot of Black and brown fashion designers. And it's just, there's just so much wrong. Like even like fast fashion in general, like it's not good for the environment. And then I'm pretty sure the labor laws are messed up. So I'm coming for Fashion Nova regardless, whether it's like for, the Black Lives Matter movement or not. And then also Dolls Kill. Now, with Dolls Kill, I need to finish my eyes. What am I going to do? I actually really like this like shimmery look. I'll probably do like a little bit of matte on the bottom. But right now, yeah, I'm going to do my face makeup. But Dolls Kill. So Dolls Kill, oh wait, hold on. I'm going to be using the Juvia's Place, Juvia's Place I Am Magic Foundation in 440 Savannah. I'm going to be putting that on my face. Now, before I get into Dolls Kill, I know y'all have problems with Juvia's Place. However, I feel like, yes, the owner is kind of problematic. And I actually had a encounter with Juvia's Place. And it's not as bad. It's just like the shipping took forever. And I live in Jersey. And and so they're like literally, their fulfillment center is literally a county over from me. And it still took them like 14 days for them to deliver it to me. And I was just waiting in the fulfillment center for like ever. And when I asked them about it, it was just like crickets. It wasn't even like, it wasn't good customer service. But anyway, but I still am supporting Juvia's Place because there's a lot of other makeup brands that have shady people running it or in positions of power in it that a lot of people still support. So I'm like, all right. And there's also, we need to support more Black owned beauty brands anyway. And so I'm like, all right, if y'all gonna still support Jeffree Star, which I'll have a video on that, so don't come for me just yet. But if y'all want to still support Jeffree Star, no, he has not changed as a person, then I'm going to still support Juvia's Place. I forgot the owner's name. I think it starts with a C. But for Dolls Kill, going back to that, I know I'm all over the place. But the owner was applauding the police officers for, I believe, tear gassing peaceful protesters outside of her store. I'm gonna let that sink in while I take my Juvia's Place I Am Magic Concealer in 18. So yeah, and then they released the whole thing, like a newsletter that they were saying like, oh my god, don't support racism, and we're so sorry that you guys think that we do, and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, number one, bullshit. Because that's like straight from the owner. So why would we support an owner that thinks it's okay for people who are peacefully protesting about a very, very important subject and issue? Like, why would she support like the police like tear gassing them and pretty much assaulting them? Like, I just don't understand. So, and that's straight from the owner. Like, it's not like it's a person that works for Dolls Kill or a company that has merch at Dolls Kill. It's straight from the Dolls Kill owner. So I'm done with Dolls Kill, which I'm heartbroken by because I really like some of their brands. But I'll just be DIYing the crap because it's easy. Like, that's the thing, like, you know, especially with these fast fashion brands, like, a lot of the stuff that they release is easy to actually sew. So that series is coming soon. It'll probably last all year, if not forever, but it'll probably be forever, but at least all year. And I'll be having fun with that. Yeah, it's some bangers too, so y'all stay tuned, because it's some bangers. So that's kind of like my form of activism, because, you know, you're putting money into the hands of people who don't care about you. And so let's not do that anymore. So like for the, I'll drop the names of my brands that I'm doing, like for Louis Vuitton and Dior and, you know, Chanel and all those places. Like, I'm not sure if Chanel, because Chanel did do a post, but I'm not sure if they put money behind it, and I don't believe them. So, you know, so all of those brands that literally don't care about you, let's take the money, let's take the power out of their hands and give it to people who actually deserve it. Let's give it to people of color. Like, let's be real. Like, you know, we're supporting these brands that, like, think that black and brown people don't have money to buy their shit to begin with. So, yeah, we're just going to take the power away from them. So I'm going to teach y'all how to make some of their stuff so you don't have to buy from them no more, because that's the thing, especially about, like, cancel culture. Wow, that set really, really weird. I never liked this setting powder, to be honest. I'm not sure anybody who does like the setting powder, but please let me know, like, how you use it. Like, do you use it with your beauty blender? Do you use it with your brush? Because I find it to be dry, and I don't like that look no more. But anyway, so yeah, so I'm working on the financial freedom end of being a activist, and so this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you how to make some of their, you know, iconic things, or things that I like that you know, I would like to own, but just not like to give them the money to own it. So, yeah, what I was about to say? Oh, because, like, for me, I'm not even, like, a designer type of girl. Like, I don't care if it's fake or not. I just like the looks of stuff. I don't care if it's a designer or not. I just like the look of it. So if I like the look of it, I want it. And so if I can just DIY it myself, that's fine. Because there's certain things, like monogram things, that you can't find, like, a replica of, as in... you know, okay, you can find like a white t-shirt at Gap, but you can also find it at Pretty Little Thing. Like, as you know, monogram stuff is directly branded, and so you won't be able to find it at like another popular store. So I'll show you how to make it instead. So yeah, that's my side of activism so far. I also, I'm going to take the Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice palette, and I'm taking, I'm taking this color right here, and I'm going to put that on my lash line. But I also, for Rebel's Promise, my form of activism as well, I created a bra, a Black Lives Matter bra. That's actually really, really cute. I'm actually really proud of it. And it's the first bra. I might release a second one for 4th of July. Because, like, listen, this is our country too. This country was built off of the backs of our ancestors. And it was built off of free labor for 400 years. 400 years of free labor. That's why this country is the richest country in the world. Because they didn't have to pay nobody. The other countries had to pay people. And not other countries that didn't have slavery or benefited off of slavery. Which, I mean, how many countries is that, to be honest? Because all the European ones benefited off of slavery. But anyway, so that's why this country is so, like, you know, like the richest country in the world. Is, even though we're like trillions of dollars in debt, but it's because they benefited off of free labor for 400 years. And the whole reason why slavery was abolished wasn't because it was wrong. It was because it was just more logical, because the Industrial Revolution was happening. So it's just more logical to use machines to do the work, because it was cheaper, because you didn't have to pay for housing and food. So it was cheaper and faster than using human beings. That's the reason why slavery ended. It wasn't because it was a morally correct thing to do. So, you know, just taking the power out of the people who want us to be oppressed for their own benefit, I feel like is one of the best ways to abolish racism and discrimination, because you'll put people people who believe in equality in places of power to change the mindset and the views and the laws. So, yeah, that's that. I did not think, I don't know what happened there. I did not think I would pretty much wrap up the majority of my talk before I finish my face. Hold on. It's like, because for me, like, part of me just wants to go back to Africa, go back to specifically Nigeria or Benin, or just like, you know, where my lineage comes from. But then the other part of me is like, you know, my ancestors did not suffer in pain just for me to go back. Now I'm going to have a home. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a home, but I'm not going to fully, you know, go back when my ancestors had to suffer for this, and for me to be a free Black woman and be proud of it, and just have the freedom to be able to be an entrepreneur. So I'm taking Moroccan Spice again. I'm taking this color and putting it on the outer V. I'm sorry for the drilling. My neighborhood has been lit ever since the summer solstice, because school is out and people are in party mode. Like, I'm in a partying neighborhood, so, you know, it is what it is. Oh, so back to this being our country and my ancestors did not suffer for me to flee. Another thing is that, like, people have been in talks of reparations. If you do not know what reparations are, there is a payment or a ongoing payment of people who have been done wrong to, especially against, like, crimes of humanity. So when World War I happened, and France was all jacked up from being war-torn, Germany had to pay reparations to repair France. And that's what started World War II. So that happened. So that's like an example of it. So, and Native Americans, they get reparations for, you know, the colonizers, you know, treating them bad, taking over their land, stealing their land, and, you know, wiping them out with disease. And just being shitty. Come on, it's just being shitty. So they get reparations. And so you would think, all right, war-torn city gets reparations. Native Americans, which makes sense, gets reparations. So what happened to 400 years of slavery? Where is our reparations? Where is it? Because they don't want to. I'm taking the other Fenty palette, the Galaxy one, and I'm taking like this blue purple color right here, and I'm gonna put that like in the middle. Oh no, actually in the inner corner. But they don't want to give us reparations, like for real, because there's too many of us. They brought too many over. So, okay, this is like way too glittery. We're just gonna go with it. Yeah, they brought way too many of us over, and so they'll have to pay every Black person that has a lineage to slavery, have ancestry in enslaved times, and that's millions of people. You know, with the Native Americans, there's a smaller population of, like, Native Americans that, like, live in a reservation or have, like, dominant Native American genetics. So it's, like, a smaller amount of people. But with Black people, it's a large majority. We have a huge population. And granted, not every Black person in this country is a descendant of people who were subject to slavery, but it's a lot of us, and they don't want to give us the money because it'll really put them in debt, like a lot, because there's so many of us. And so that's why we really haven't gotten reparations yet. And fun fact, in Britain, they actually did do reparations, but not for Black people. It was for the slave owners. So that's history for you. Oh, shoot. Okay, do I look crazy? I probably look crazy, but I don't care. I do care, but it's okay. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in my inner corner yet. Ooh, I'm going to put this color, this Pat McGrath, and that white color, because it's like duochrome. So I'm going to put that. The idea for reparations that people have been tossing around is just for people who are the descendants of people who were subject to slavery to just not pay taxes. Because what's in the U.S. Treasury is technically ours, because they didn't pay our ancestors any labor for what we did, what our ancestors did, and what the labor that they did to make other white people rich. So, you know, I think that's a good start for, oops, for Reparations. This is cute. I'm happy I put that color. Like, this is just a glittery mess, but I love it. I'm breaking all types of rules. But anyway, yeah, I said, especially like income tax, I feel like that's a really, really good start. Income and property tax is a really good start to Reparations. I told my mom because I found out that Royal Caribbean, you know, that cruise ship line, yeah, that's the same company that brought in slaves, or brought in enslaved Africans. So, that's that, to chew on that bit of information. So, what I said to my mom was that all black people need to get free cruises. Period. Point blank. Free cruises for everybody. I feel like that's also a good start. I'm taking Fenty Beauty's Matchstick and Truffle to contour. I probably need to put on my lashes, but I just don't feel like attempting that task right now. Also, another topic is why it's important to support Black-owned businesses, which I will have a list linked down below of, I kind of collected a lot. I'm sorry if my head keeps getting cut off. My camera's at a weird angle. But I kind of like wanted to collect and make a directory of Black-owned businesses. It's a continuously growing directory, but at least it's a start. But it's important to support Black-owned, said, for that financial freedom part and be able to be in positions of power to create change. And finances is the way to do that. So, yeah, so support Black-owned businesses. I have a goal for the rest of 2020. It'll continue. It's not going to be like only 2020. But it's to, I'm going to contour my nose with this too. Change most of my businesses that I support, like stuff that I buy, to Black-owned. Wow, I keep losing my train of thought. Black-owned businesses. So like from my body wash to my skin care to my makeup to my clothes, like everything, just almost like virtually everything. Like I probably won't be able to do groceries, even though like because I live in a Spanish neighborhood. It's probably like Spanish owned anyway, so buying groceries from my supermarket is supporting brown owned business anyway, so I did that part. Or not me, my mama really, but it counts. So that is really important. So I want to switch probably like 80 to 70%, 70 to 80% of like the companies that I use and buy from to be Black and brown, because, you know, we're all in this together. So Black and brown businesses. Wow, this is probably looking like crap. Contouring my nose is so hard. So yeah, so that's my goal. You know, I want to complete it for 2020 and continue it in 2021 and so on and so forth. There's a lot of Black-owned businesses being created pretty much every day. I have a few. I'll link them down below as well, just in case you're just like curious or whatever. And I'm actually planning to start an entrepreneur series about just kind of like how to start a business to empower more people to, you know, be their own boss. And it doesn't have to be like a full-on, like, okay, like business that you have to run and it be like your full-time job. If you don't want to, it can just be a side hustle. Just whatever you feel like, I will help you with it. And so it's a series of me starting another business other than Rebel's Promise. I'll take you along the journey with that and give you tips and tricks and all that good stuff. I am now taking my Fenty Beauty bronzer in Bayesian Girl. It looks like this. It kind of adds more warmth to my face than anything. It doesn't really do a lot of sculpting, which that's what bronzers are supposed to do anyway, but I like a bronzer that does both. Another topic, just because, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter movement, not actual, like, organization, is not, like, you know, popular. Well, it is still popular, but not as popular as, like, a couple of weeks ago. Doesn't mean that everything is back to normal. Like, we still have to create change. We still have to vote. We still have to, you know, be vocal about what the hell is wrong. Because, the moment we start being vocal, the moment change starts to happen. You know, like, I just love when it's not performative activism. But I love, you know, a lot of companies starting to step up and be like, all right, like we see what y'all talking about and how wrong, you know, Black and brown people have been treated. You know, and it's just like a lot of people are finally seeing, like, you know, just the injustices that are constantly happening to Black and brown people. And, you know, that's the thing. So we still have to keep it up. We still have to be vocal. We still have to, you know, support people who want to create change. All right, I'm going to probably put on my lashes now. So even if you're not a Black or brown person, and you just want to be an ally, I suggest watching Nikki Tutorial's video that she only uses Black-owned beauty brands, because I feel like she's not the perfect example, but a very good example of being an ally. I'm using the lashes from Yolorde Lashes in Ochun Sita. It's so funny because it's hard for me to pronounce the CH in Oshun, because people say Ochun, I say Oshun, so because, you know, Nigerian, so. This is not a Black owned. I don't believe it's a Black owned brand. I think it's a brown owned brand, just to let you know. But obviously, if you can't tell by name, the owner is a part of the Yoruba, or she practices the Orisha tradition. So that's close enough for me. And I'll probably do like a specifically like brown owned beauty brand video relatively soon. Allyship. So I feel like Nikki Tutorials is a great example, but not perfect, but great example of being an ally. I just feel like she explains a lot of things that a lot of allies should understand, like the All Lives Matter thing. That's a given. Like when you say all lives matter, you continue to devaluate, if that's a word, devaluate, or devalue Black and brown lives, because you're almost like, you're still saying that Black lives still don't matter or matter less. You know, you're like almost like, you know, like not validating the fact that Black lives do matter. You're saying, no, all lives matter, which is obvious. We're not saying that Black lives matter more, like Nikki said in her video. I think she put it perfectly. We're not saying that it's more, y'all, but obviously we're saying that Black lives matter because people aren't getting the memo, including you. You know, obviously people aren't getting the memo when our own police is murdering us. Like who are we supposed to call when the police are doing the killing? And that's the whole idea, is that obviously because people don't give a shit when another Black man dies. Let's be real. Oh shit. Does this even work? This is probably like way too big. But I'm too tired to get up and get another lash. And I have to put on more lash glue again. That's the thing. So she covered that. And she pretty much said what I said, but a little bit more. And I feel like sometimes, because it's just a tribal thing with humans in general, like just hearing it from someone who looks like you might take it better than, you know, someone who doesn't look like you. Like I said, it's like a tribal human thing that's in our genetics. Not in everybody's genetics, but like it's not a shock if it is. And so like that's why like people, like white people appropriating other people's cultures is successful, like yoga and Buddhism and all that. It's successful because other white people rather learn from another white person than from a person from that culture, because it's just more palatable for them. So I feel like that's just, even though it still has to change, but I think that's just a scientific tribal thing. So I feel like if you want to be an ally, I feel like Nikki Tutorials does a pretty decent job of doing that. There's also talks that police brutality might be, there's a petition for the United Nations to classify police brutality as crimes against humanity, or something like a serious actual charge that they can charge the United States for a crime for allowing police brutality to happen, or something like that. You know, like how they did Hitler, like he was charged by the United Nations and all his other bitch ass motherfuckers, you know, the other people who were like in charge. Like it would be the same thing for the United States I think as a country to be charged, but I'm not sure. So yeah, because honestly, what they're committing is near genocide, like almost, like because of how many people are dying at the hands of police for no goddamn reason. Yeah, I think that's all the topics that I wanted to cover. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Okay, so I'm just going to line my lips real quick, and then we'll be putting on the lipstick and finishing up this video. So now I'm taking the Pat McGrath lipstick in 1995. That was before I was born. And I'm putting that on my lips. I put on lip liner, but it was the wrong color. I'm going to spray my face with setting spray, and then we'll be back to finish up this video. That is pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I wasn't talking all crazy, but you know, I just want to kind of put my thoughts out there because I just felt like it would just be really awkward for me to not address what's been going on, especially as a proud black woman. As you see, I got my t-shirt on. It would just be awkward and weird, and I don't know. It's just not me, because I am a vocal person, especially like once I get over my emotions. I am a vocal person. I am a woke person. I've been woke ever since I was a child because I have a mom that kept me woke the whole time, ever since like 5 years old. So, you know, it would just be really, really weird for me to not say anything. And, you know, especially when like there's so much positivity on my channel, you know, it'll just be weird to still be like a positive person with all this going on without like addressing everything first. But yeah, we'll be getting back to YouTube videos because I was like in a rut for a really long time, obviously a 2-month period of time, because you know, I've just been in a rut and I've just been unmotivated to film. But I realized that I have a duty just as a creative person and with the gifts that God gave me, that I need to share them with the world, because I love escapism myself, especially when the world just gets a little bit too rough and too hardcore. I love escapism. And I was kind of feeling away, like, you know, I love Jackie Aina, as I mentioned in my videos, and she took like a month break, and I was like waiting for her videos. I was like, yo, where your videos at? And so you know, I want to be that escapism for all of you who appreciate my videos, because I don't like that feeling when Jackie be ghosting, so I can understand why you guys feel the way you feel with me ghosting, and I'm trying to be more consistent and, you know, handle my emotions better. But I had to pick myself back up and do this video for you guys. But I just want to do a dedicated video so we can just talk about it. Also, last but not least, if you have not seen the BET Awards, I think it's a really, really good idea to do so, because they went off. It happened last night from when I'm recording this, and they went off. Like, even the commercials were like woke as hell. Like, they were going all the way off. So I suggest you do watch that as well. And then you get to see Michelle Obama with her natural hair too, so that's always a treat. So anyway, as always, please love yourself, and I will see you next video. Mwah!